Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Naomi, and today I want to talk to you about the big secret to habit change success. Okay, now this big secret I feel like is really simple. It's really basic. It's almost not even a secret. It's just really easy to overlook because it's so simple. Okay, so the biggest secret to habit change success is that you have to want to change the habit. That's it. I mean, there's way more to it than that, but that at the most foundational level is that you have to want to change the habit in question, your habit, or you have to want the change that this new habit will bring about. Okay? So I'm going to say that again. Say it again. So number one, you have to want to change the habit, or you have to want the change that the habit is going to bring about, this new habit that you're going to do, okay? So I realize how totally capped and obvious this feels. Of course you have to want it, but it's more challenging than that. I feel like it's trickier than that. You know, we all think that we want things, okay? We all think that we want, some certain thing when it comes to habit change. You know, it's like saying, I want to lose weight, or, I want to feel more rested, or, I want to make more money, or, I want. But what are you doing in order to achieve that? How much do you want it? And on a deeper level, because this is really the root of it, how do you identify with that? What is your identity tied into that? Because change is hard. Okay, change is really, really hard because we are creatures of habit and routine and familiarity and consistency. Change is hard, but transformation is harder, and here's why. Okay, transformation is rooted in your identity. Okay, it's rooted in how you identify yourself. Okay, so one of the most basic, and then I'll give a slightly more specific example. One of the most basic is how we identify, as morning person versus night owl. Okay, people tend to identify as one or the other, right? You're either a morning person or a night owl. Well, if you say that you're a night owl, but you want to feel more rested, okay, and you're a night owl who still has to wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work, but you're staying up until 2 o'clock in the morning because you're a night owl, you're never going to feel more rested because you're telling yourself that you're a night owl. Okay, you will never feel more rested because the identity of being a night owl takes precedence over getting rest. Okay, and on the other side of things, you could say the same, if you are a morning person, you are a morning person, you have to wake up early, but you have a job that requires you to work late into the night. You will never feel well rested. Ever. Right? Because you identify as a morning person. And so changing that identity is really challenging. Transforming that belief system, that mindset is really challenging. And so it has everything to do with transforming, a belief which is deeply ingrained so that you can change a habit. Okay, that's why it's so tricky. That's why, saying something, for example, like, the big secret to habit change is that you have to want it. Well, of course you want it. But do you also want to change your identity? Okay, here's another example for the moms. And this is going along with the same well-rested idea because, here's why. Most of us want to feel more rested all the time. A lot of us feel exhausted all the time. We're not getting enough sleep. Okay, so well-rested is a really great example on multiple levels. Okay, so moms in general have the idea, so many moms want to be good moms. Okay, and we identify like that the identity of being a good mom is so strong that everything that we do feeds into that, or we try to do everything that we can to feed into that. Okay, so you might have the identity of wanting to be a good mom, but you also have the identity of, wanting to be a person who gets rest, who feels well rested, who has the energy to, play with her kids and, do some of those fun things that create really positive memories, right? That create positive experiences, not just memories, but like actual real-time experiences. But what goes along with that identity? Well, one of the things that goes hand in hand with that identity is usually, the idea of, not getting enough sleep. That moms, that moms are chronically exhausted because, we are staying up really late, finishing, that like personalized Halloween costume because you couldn't find it in the store, or, making the cupcakes that match the decorations for for this like specialized Pinterest-worthy birthday party that also match the games that you're going to play, right? So it's staying up late into the night to do all those things. If being a good mom involves all of those activities, you will never be well rested. Those two identities will always be in conflict. So when it comes to the secret to habit change, the big secret is you have to want it. And it also means that sometimes you have to want to change an identity, right? You have to like do the work to say, well, who am I really? And can a good mom be somebody who also feels well rested? Can I change that identity to say, can a good mom be somebody who buys cupcakes sometimes instead of making them? Can a good mom be X, Y, and Z? And if that identity isn't reconciled, the capacity to be well rested probably won't happen. Okay, so, every single time it's going to come down to values and identity. Okay, and all of that ties back into want. So if you really want something, it's going to go back to your identity every time. Who do I identify as? And that is the biggest secret to habit change. So, your homework, if you choose to accept it, is to take a moment and really consider how you identify yourself. And to not just, start with the whole idea of I'm a night owl, I'm a morning person, but to really dig deep into what those things mean to you and what the values are underneath that. Because once you really get into the identity, that work of the identity, and dig into, the values that are important to you, then you can start saying, okay, well, if I want to create change, how can I shift that identity slightly? Can I shift that identity slightly? Does this match up with my values? What's really important to me? And that's where habit change really begins to shift. And there are lots of other things that you can do, but if that fundamental piece isn't there, all of the other stuff, all of the technical pieces, like putting systems in place and, stacking your habits and making it really easy, all of that other stuff, it won't work. Because if the identity doesn't shift, if your identity doesn't shift, then your habits won't either. So hopefully this has given you some really good food for thought when it comes to self-care and, creating new habits and changing habits that no longer support you or that make you feel totally crappy all the time. Hopefully it gives you some good food for thought around that so that you can start creating the shifts not only in your day-to-day habits, but in your identity and values so they really line up with the life that you want to live. So there you have it. I'd love to hear what you think of this in the comments below, and maybe even share some of those insights into identity and into values and into the habits that you want to shift as well. I'd love to hear from you. I will respond to every single one if you put a comment in the comments below. So I look forward to hearing from you. And until then, bye.